heard of that saying, like, okay, let me just take this client so that people will see what I'm good at. Let me just do this so that they can see my work. Let me just get busy so I can put myself out there. How is it working for you? People only see you work and work and work, but they don't see the money. You are working and working, but you're not seeing the money. It's killing your business. Undervaluing your work is the fastest way to kill your business. Most small fashion brands don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they stay broke, struggling to turn profit or struggling to turn their creativity into profit. And the worst part is, but they don't even realize the mistakes keeping them stuck. But today I'm going to be breaking this down so that you can fix it before it gets too late. I've been in the fashion industry for years and I have seen talented fashion designers struggle, not because they lack talent or they don't know what they are doing. I even made some of these mistakes myself, and until I fixed it before I started seeing results or the result that I wanted. So today I'm going to be breaking down these mistakes for you, but more importantly, showing you how to fix them so you can fix them quickly and start getting the best from your brand. One of the biggest reasons why fashion brands stay broke is they charge or they don't charge enough. Have you heard of that saying, like, okay, let me just take this client so that people will see what I'm good at. Let me just do this so that they can see my work. Let me just get busy so I can put myself out there. How is it working for you? People only see you work and work and work, but they don't see the money. You are working and working, but you're not seeing the money. It's killing your business. A lot of fashionpreneurs price their work out of fear. Fear that customers won't pay, fear that customer will leave, or fear of rejection, and they'll say, okay, no, this is too much, I cannot do it, and they'll just go. And you're feeling like, okay, this money can do something for me, why can't I have it? But you know that compared to the time, the effort, the strength, and everything you are putting in, it's not enough. But you're just going to like, okay, let me just have it. But here's the reality. Undervaluing your work is the fastest way to kill your business. If you are making the same mistake right now, accepting low paid clients or accepting low paid jobs, you're thinking it will attract more customers to you instead. But you know the reality. You are working harder. You are not seeing the money, and you are drained. You are doing so much, you are drained. You are not seeing the money. If only you can realize that, okay, this is not working for you, you stop it immediately. If you watching this video right now, you know that it's not working for you, the best thing is for you to stop. Now, how can you fix this? Number one, you need to know that your price should never be a random guess. Rather, you need to factor in the cost of materials, the fabric, the trims, the packaging, the nylon you're using, the thread, the chalk, everything you use for that production. That should be factored in. Also, you need to factor in your production time, your labor, or your team's labor, whoever is sewing it. How many hours did it take you to make that cloth from start to finish? You also need to factor in your overhead expenses, your rent, your machine wear and tear, your electricity bill, your marketing. See, you know that sometimes when I tell people you have to factor in your machines, they are like, but I use the machine to sew for everybody. How can I factor that in? Do you realize that the more you use your machine, the more you have a need to service it? Where's the money coming out from that you need to service that machine? Is it from your profit or from money from somewhere else? Your money to service your machine whenever the time or whenever it's needed should always come from the money you have set aside for your machine or from the money you have always factored in, not from any other place. Talking about pricing, how to price your work, like really is something I think we need to really sit down and discuss, because it's so that we can really get into it in details. So if this is something you want to see from me, just let me know in the comment section, and comment costing down in the comment section. And if I see that this is something you are interested in, I'm going to create a dedicated video about costing and pricing. So now, after we've factored in the cost of production, materials, the production time, and the overhead expenses you have to put in your profit margin. This is what builds the sustainability of your business. You have to put in your profit margin so that by the time you have taken out all your expenses, you still have a profit. Have you noticed sometimes that when you are done working, you tell a client, okay, you ask a client for money and you think you have collected a big money. At the end of the day, by the time you take out all the fabric and everything, you have nothing to show for it. So it ought not to be so. If you are just covering cost, you are working for free. If you are just saying, okay, this is the money I used to buy material, and buy materials for this, and buy fabrics and this and this and that, there's nothing to show. You are not charging for the labor the way it ought to be, your time. When I talk about labor, your time, if you are not charging, before you know it, you are working for free. You just gave someone your clothes for free. So to ensure your business is sustainable, factor in all these costs, factor in all these expenses before you add in your profit margin. Fashionpreneurs who lack production strategy waste money, actually wasting money in three key ways. Number one, wasted fabrics. You buy too much of fabrics, and at the end of the day you mismanage materials because you have enough, you want to waste it. Especially when you are working, you are not the one directly cutting this thing or sewing this thing. Trust people, when it's not their money, they tend to overuse or abuse stuff. So because if you give your tailors or the cutters or whoever is cutting excess of fabrics, they are likely to waste it for you because it's not their money, and because it's in excess, they have a lot to play with. They have enough to play with, and they are going to play with it real good. But what's wasting there? Your money. Number two, wasted time. Doing everything manually with no streamlined process. But if you keep doing everything manually, you are wasting time. For example, you are creating a certain style. Let's just say a blouse or a top, a certain top, and you want to make 20 pieces. Instead of going manually, cutting every time you want to make for each of that pieces you want to make, you are cutting manually. Let's even say for 10 of the pieces will be in size 8 and another 10 will be in size 10. So instead of saying, okay, you will now cut all the size 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10, you will now go ahead to cut size 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 10. A faster way to do this is to just create the pattern for each of the sizes, and you fold your fabric in a way that can cut 20 pieces at a time, and you place both the size 8 pattern and the size 10 pattern on the fabric and cut at a go. You don't have to cut one. So the time you used to cut one, you would have used that same time to cut everything at a go. It's saving two things. It will save you time, and it will also save you fabric, because when you are cutting in bulk, it saves fabric more than cutting one in pieces, right? So there's a video on my channel here where I went live talking about how to create SOP for your business, like standard of operation for everything you do in your fashion business. That way you don't always start from the scratch, or whoever wants to do any task at any time knows exactly what to do, step one to step two. So if that video, I think that video is something you have to watch. So, and I also talked about how to create, or ways you can start creating your own SOPs right away so that you can start using it in your production flow or your sewing flow. I'm going to be dropping the link of that video in the description box, so just you might want to watch it. The third thing you are wasting is labor. Paying for unnecessary corrections or inefficiencies. Like I said before, imagine giving someone too much fabrics to work with, and they have to now cut the fabric, and they see that, oh, they have to cut the style. They saw that, oh, they didn't get this style very well, but because there's enough fabric, they're going to cut again. And if they cut and something happens, there's not enough, they'll just tell you, oh, this fabric is not enough. Now you have wasted money. That time they are wasting, that time they used to cut and they've not gotten what they want, that time is wasted. Imagine, okay, like the other example I cited, cutting 20 pieces of the same style blouse but in two sizes. The time you used to cut one. Imagine using a pattern, having a pattern drafted and placed on the fabric to cut the 20 pieces at a go. Saves time, saves labor, saves fabric. You can see the list goes on. So if you don't have a production strategy, you are going to struggle with this. This one way you are losing money. Before you know, there's not enough time to meet up with certain things. Okay, the orders are piling up, not enough time to meet up with the orders and all that stuff, right? Now that we've talked about the mistakes, what can you do? If you want to scale and increase profit, you need to optimize production. Batch produce, like what I said before. Instead of cutting in pieces, cut in bulk. Instead of sewing different designs or sewing different things at different time, you are sewing this now, you now drop it and move to the next thing. Sew in bulk. You are sewing this particular style of dress or this particular top. Before you move to the next, put everything together, all the sizes in bulk, and produce at the same time. Now let's make this practical. For example, you want to sew 50 pieces of different skirt designs. Instead of going from one design to the next, cut every of the designs in bulk, start sewing in bulk. You know, when a tailor is like taking an action, the first action is slower, the second is a little bit fast, the third time is a little bit fast. So the more they make that same action, they are getting faster. So imagine you are bringing everything around us about that style, the bulk sewing of that style. The tailor is making it almost immediately. Before you know, they start slower, they get faster, faster, and before you know, they sew fast. Then after sewing that one, like after making that bulk fast, before you move to the next. But if you keep changing, you've made this skirt, you now move to the top, you now move to the next one. Before you bring back that one, everything will just be slow because they are moving from this action to another action that will take time, to another action that will take time. But if they are taking the same action, over time they become so fast that they'll be doing the same thing but with a lot of speed, and before you know it, they are producing for you, they are producing what they want to produce faster. So it's saving you time and saving you cost of energy, cost of every other thing, right? So number two, pre-order models. Pre-order models says a lot. Imagine spending hours creating beautiful pieces, but at the end of the month you are exhausted, overworked, and barely making money. Just imagine it. Some of you don't have to imagine it because that is where you are right now. Instead of just producing in bulk that you don't have the market for it, why not produce in small pieces, take to the market? When you get orders for this thing, then you start producing in bulk. Because if you just produce a lot and you keep them at home, it's wasting space. Money is tied there looking at you. So instead of just piling up stock and piling up things, tying money down, you can also consider getting orders first before you produce in bulk or in large quantity. Now, number three is efficient fabric usage. Plan your fabrics. I don't know, I'm really hammering on this because fabrics are expensive. I know it depends on the kind of fabrics you are using, but whichever one you are using, fabrics are expensive. So you have to be efficient with your fabric usage. And one way to be efficient, especially if you are not the one cutting, even if you are the one cutting, one way to be efficient is to plan your fabric layout. And this is why freehand is not actually doing the best for you. If you want to be efficient, freehand will not work for you, because when you use freehand method, you kind of waste fabric more. But working with patterns saves you fabric, because imagine you have certain number of styles or certain number you are cutting, and you have your fabric laid down, and every pieces of that pattern is placed on the fabric. Before you know it, you are more efficient with that fabric. Every pieces will give you something out of it, unlike when you are using freehand to just cut, and when you cut it, you have a part that is wasted. You don't have what you can do with it. It's already waste or stuff like that. So if you want to be efficient with your fabric, you have to consider using patterns more often. Using patterns saves fabric, amongst the other things it saves. So the goal is to produce smarter and not harder. That's how real businesses grow.